Nicole arrived ashore in the Bahamas as a Category 1 hurricane with maximum winds of 75 miles per hour on Wednesday. The footage here on your screen shows just some of the flooding left behind as a result of the storm. Now, the New York Post reported several power outages in Grand Abaco. And according to Our News Bahamas, the all clear has since been given for the entire Northwest Bahamas, including Grand Bahama, Abaco, and the Berry Islands. But meantime, after impacting the Bahamas, Nicole, now a tropical storm, crossed over Florida's east coast as a Category 1 hurricane earlier on Thursday morning. The National Hurricane Center is warning Florida residents to be aware of strong winds, heavy rains, and dangerous storm surge. Jason Allen reports from Vero Beach.
High winds from Nicole led to blown-out transformers in Melbourne, Florida, and brought traffic lights down to the streets. Boats were rocked like toys in the Fort Pierce City Marina as the storm made landfall just south of Vero Beach around 3 a.m. On Wednesday, storm surge caused part of this building's parking lot to collapse in Daytona Beach, and sheriff deputies went door to door at this seaside condo complex evacuating residents.
With this storm surge coming in here and the high winds, we are fearful that several of those buildings will collapse.
Across town, residents loaded up on sandbags in the final hours before hunkering down.
We were affected last hurricane, and we had more than water all over damage, so now we're getting prepared for this hurricane this time.
Teddy Miller planned to ride out the storm at home in Jensen Beach.
Fortunately, being that we just went through this like 4 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, we're kind of somewhat prepared.
Nicole was expected to knock out power to thousands of people. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said power crews were standing by, prepared to repair things as fast as possible.
There are 16,000 linemen staged to immediately begin power restoration efforts.
Evacuation orders remain in effect all along Florida's east coast. Nicole will go down as just the third hurricane to make landfall in Florida in November since record-keeping started in 1853.
And of course, Nicole comes just 6 weeks after Hurricane Ian caused major destruction throughout Florida, and in a rare move, major theme parks in Central Florida like Walt Disney World are closed. And while Nicole is to blame for delaying an Artemis moon launch, NASA is still keeping that rocket on the launch pad, saying it can withstand winds of up to 85 miles an hour. Well, meantime, tens of thousands of people from all around the world have descended on Egypt for the annual United Nations Climate Change Summit, COP27. Now, of those people includes a delegation from the Bahamas. Our One Caribbean News' DeAndre Hamilton reports.
We have to find a way to unleash more financing for the Bahamas and all the countries like the Bahamas.
Going into COP27, the Bahamas government is already finding success in a new ally who reveals that a $40 million fund can be accessed by middle-income Bahamas. The International Monetary Fund and its managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, have big ambitions as the world gathers in Egypt to hold fast to the plans already made to save the planet from the supercharged rate of global warming.
Carbon offsets, carbon credits can be a asset class for the Bahamas that helps to finance adaptation to climate shocks.
Carbon credits and other means of funding to offset the costly toll on smaller emitters who are at most risk but least responsible.
That the IMF is showing to the challenges that small and developing states like ours have, particularly with this existential threat that's upon us. And I'm grateful that she is going to look into how assist us in the monetization of our carbon credits as a new asset class. And I'm so delighted that we were able to have this meeting this afternoon to share our views, concerns, and the way forward on these things.
Prime Minister Philip Davis arrived safely in Sharm el-Sheikh, leading a mammoth-sized delegation of 70 Bahamian professionals to find their way into the pocketbooks of countries that need to now go from saying what they mean to do to doing what they say they mean.
Direction by creating first ever long-term concessional financing capacity at the IMF, exactly to support countries that are vulnerable to climate shocks.
DeAndre Hamilton reporting.
All right, thanks so much, D'Andro. Meantime, Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has warned against any violence in the campaign for the snap December 6th general elections. Now, he issued the warning at a public meeting in the heart of the capital on Tuesday night as his ruling Dominica Labor Party presented its list of candidates for the polls, sidelining several incumbent ministers. Nomination day that's set for November 18th. Skerrit on Sunday shocked the nation by calling the election 3 years after he led the DLP to a convincing 18-3 victory over the Maine United Workers Party in the 2019 poll. The UWP has since announced that it will not contest the snap general election, reiterating the need for electoral reform ahead of any fresh general election in the Caribbean island.
So tell the Workers' Party for me tonight to stop their damn nonsense about their not running because of a report on electoral reform. That is not true. They marched up and down for the last 3 months demanding election. Every Wednesday they rose up. Skerrit call election. Skerrit call it. When Skerrit call the election, they're saying they're not running for election.
Well, meantime, Prime Minister Skerrit said his party is ready to continue the advancement of Dominica for the benefit of the people of Dominica. He told supporters that he has led a party in Parliament with 18 seats and he is prepared to run a Parliament with all 21 seats. And he warned the opposition against using violence to get their way.
I am warning them tonight that nonsense they did last election and blocking streets and burning streets. Let me say to them that we will not sit down and take that nonsense again in Dominica. That nonsense will not happen in our country. This lawless behavior, the government will not accept it from these people. You fight elections with policies, programs, and ideas, not blocking streets and burning streets in Dominica. So it's not going to happen again. And if it happens, we'll deal with it according to the laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica.